Yeah, so that's how they work, and what are different approaches that we can take. One of the approach is using an existing platform. Then we can integrate our Flutter apps with Google Assistant. These assistants are already like they have NLP models that are trained, like they use federated learning. The second one is using packages. There are some plugins like Allen AI or packages like speech to text, text to speech. The last approach is just building everything from scratch. This gives you a very customized solution based on your business case. Welcome to my talk, Power Up Your Flutter Apps with Voice. And let me start with a quick intro. So my name is Akanksha Singh. I work as a software engineer at JP Morgan. I came here from Glasgow, so it was a long journey. And yeah, I have been developing Flutter apps since 2020. I started playing around and learning Flutter when I was doing my master's, and when one day I decided to participate in a hackathon, and I thought, why not use Flutter? And it worked out very well, and I was so intrigued by like how easy it was to use Flutter that I just kept on learning more and just keep on going. And apart from that, I also love doing hackathons, and I was MLS Top 50 Hackers of class of 2022. Hackers not in like hacking, but it's more of a hackathon thing. So yeah, and I love community building, being part of communities, mentoring, and just sharing what I'm learning and doing. Yeah, that's about me. So let's jump on to today's agenda. So what we're gonna talk about, and what I'm gonna talk about is why we need voice in Flutter apps or just any apps, why voice user interface is important, and then we'll look at the predictions for the future, like what potential voice has. Then we'll look at some of the ways it can be integrated into Flutter apps and some terminologies, and I will be going over some of the packages or some of the methods with which you can integrate voice in your apps. So yeah, let's get started. Starting with why we need voice in the first place. So yeah, you all must be familiar with these devices, Nest Hub, Amazon Alexa, and the primary advantage of voice user interface is that it allows a very hands-free, eyes-free experience. And users can easily interact with these products while they are doing something else and they're not actually paying attention. But using the same design principle in graphical user interface, the one that we are gonna talk about, is a bit tricky. But if we integrate voice in even in graphical user interfaces in some or the other way, then it can definitely improve the user experience, and that's what we're gonna discuss today. So what are the advantages of having a voice user interface? So the first advantage is the speed. According to a Stanford study, speaking is at least 4 times faster than typing. So this makes voice input a great method for information-heavy tasks like filling forms or maybe searching from a large inventory of items. And yeah, that's about speed. So voice user interface also supports dozens of synonyms. So everyone expresses themselves in a certain way, and every user is different. So if they are asking a query, then one user would ask in a certain way and another would ask in a different way. So voice user interface also supports that. So there can be multiple ways of interacting with the user interface, and it will be able to respond accordingly. Then voice UIs also enable the user to focus their attention on another task. So multitasking, like if they're doing something else, they are maybe driving the car, or just like it increases the productivity, having just giving the voice commands to get things done. So that's one advantage. And apart from all these, accessibility is something that's very important. a lot of people have certain impairment or something because of which they are not capable of using mobile apps or any type of apps like how other users do. So it's very important to have accessibility feature like having voice if they are able to use that. I mean, there are a lot of other accessibility features that depends on the type of impairment, but yeah, voice can definitely be helpful in certain like cases. So yeah, those were some of the advantages, like you're driving, you're cooking, you're cleaning, and just having a voice user interface like a device. We all have used it, and we all see how easy it is to navigate and just get get some tasks done. So if we also try to have that in our mobile apps or just in our Flutter apps, then it would certainly help in improving the productivity and just giving it a more diverse use case. So yeah, that was about why we need voice. Also, like 50%, 15% of the world population lives with some form of disability, and it would be unfair if we just leave them and don't even think about like how we can make our apps accessible to them. So yeah, now let's talk about the future of voice technology in mobile apps. So the speech and voice recognition market is expected to reach around 26.79 billion globally by 2025. And there have been a lot of advancements in IoT that have led to a sudden and massive growth in smart home industry. Voice will continue to play a major role in coming years as well. Using voice technology in their in mobile apps, users can easily control their all the devices like smart home devices. They can turn on, turn off the lights, even open curtains and things like that. So those are the things that are possible with IoT devices. And in the coming time, even apart from like smart home segment, the future, like even in healthcare industry, integration with voice, or it can be used for filling forms, or like in like hospitals and all, like there are a lot of long forms and just maintaining different records. So it would be easier for patients to just fill that using voice. And because a lot of like models, they have ability to detect multiple unique voices, so mobile apps will also allow users to have separate voice profiles, like if somebody is using, like there are 4 members in a family and they're using a Google Home to play music, and maybe like if the model is that good that it can create different profile for different user, then they will be able to recommend music or maybe activities to that user. So it will just target each user on the basis of the model that after just identifying the voices and just their habits and things like that. So that will be something very cool. And yeah, this is not related to voice user interfaces or something, but like University of Cambridge did this thing where they were collecting the sounds to predict if somebody has COVID. I mean, that's how like voice can be very like useful. I mean, it's not related to voice user interfaces, but that's how like things are gonna be. People can use voice to do a lot of things, even in healthcare industry. So yeah. So when we are talking about voice user interfaces or just giving voice commands, what actually happens behind the scene? So in all these assistants and things like that, there's a wake word. So when we say, hey Google, okay Google, or hey Siri, so that's a wake word. And when a user speaks that, the device or the app, that it just gets triggered because of the wake word, and then it starts listening and then processes the subsequent commands spoken by the user. So after the wake word is detected, it will start listening, and then it will convert the speech to text so that it can have some data to work with. After converting that to text, it goes through NLP models where it identifies what the user wants to do, what the intent is. So after it identifies the intent, it goes through a business logic, and after going through the business logic, it comes up with the textual answer, and then that answer is converted in speech. So that's basically how they all work. And yeah, so that's how they work. And if we want to have similar kind of interface, what are different approaches that we can take? One of the approach is integrating in an existing platform. And then the second one is using packages. There are a lot of packages that one can use and try to imitate the similar kind of functionality. Then the last one is building everything from scratch, like building all the models, building all the packages and all the APIs. So yeah, if I talk about using an existing platform, then we can integrate our Flutter apps with Google Assistant, Siri, and using these assistant, what advantage do we get is these assistant are already like they have NLP models that are trained, like they use federated learning, and every time users speak something, it's get recorded, and then it just, the algorithm keeps on learning, and this data is used in improving the search, the speech model. So it's good that it's already there and we can just use it like that. And yeah, that's how, like, the one way is to use the existing platforms. So another way is using packages. So there are a lot of existing packages, and there are some plugins, and there are some plugins like ALAN.ai, or there are packages like speech to text, text to speech. So one can use these packages and have their own NLP model, or maybe just get the NLP models that are already there and build over it, and just use all these tools to imitate the whole functionality by themselves. And the last approach is just building everything from scratch. So finding existing APIs or making your own APIs, building over the NLP models that are already there. And this gives you a very customized solution based on your business case. So yeah, those are some of the approaches that one can take if they want to integrate voice in their apps. Let's talk about Android. Like even though like Flutter is cross-platform, and it can the tools or the packages that are there, some of them work on one platform, some do not work. So we'll be just going over Android and iOS, but will be more focused on Android. And for Android, the options that we have is using app actions. So app actions allows us to use Google Assistant, and it will be able to communicate via Google Assistant. So user can ask Google Assistant to open your app, or just order something, or maybe adding something to the cart and things like that via Google Assistant, like we use other apps, like just play music from Spotify. So instead of that, you can have the same commands for your app. So we can use app actions. And there are APIs if you wanna have, so what app actions does it integrates it with Google Assistant. So it is something that is outside of your app. So you're communicating with Google Assistant and then giving commands to your app. But if you want to have something inbuilt, like in your app, you want to have a very customized your assistant inside your app, then you can just use APIs. There are Google APIs for converting speech to text, and then you can process that, and just the way I showed the diagram. So you can get the text, and then you can process, and using NLP models, you can identify what the user wants to do or what they really want the app to do, and then you can just give them a response back. MLKit also has some natural language processing models. Very recently, like some of them were added, and a lot of them are already there. So MLKit can be very useful as well. Then we also have Dialogflow. Dialogflow just allows you to integrate voice bot or just a chatbot in your app, and it's very easy to like make one, and I'll be showing you like how that's done. So yeah, so those are some of the options that we have with Android. In iOS, if we want to integrate Siri with our app, then we have Siri shortcuts, and there's a package. It's not very popular, but Flutter a Siri suggestions package. It can be useful in, so what you can do with this package or having Siri shortcuts is like you normally use your Siri to just go to an app or do something. So you can just add those shortcuts for your Flutter apps as well. And then Apple also has these APIs if you want to just make something from scratch, or something you want to build over APIs and just want to do something, just don't want to have something inbuilt in your app, then you can use the APIs for just speech processing. So yeah, those are the APIs. And yeah, so Siri shortcut would look something like this. You can open the app, and it would suggest you if what you can do as well. So yeah, so we'll be looking at some of these today, like some of the methods with which you can integrate voice in your apps. So app actions, as I told, like it lets you launch and control Android apps via using Google Assistant. And Google Assistant is also app that is available on iOS. So you can even install that Google Assistant app on iOS, and then try to use that for just doing the same thing that you do in Android, just giving voice commands via Google Assistant. So that's possible. Then we have Dialogflow Essentials. That's a development suite for building conversational UIs, and you can have chatbots, voice bots in your app. Then we have Alan AI. So it's a conversational AI platform to create and manage intelligent and contextual in-app voice assistants. I will be showing this today. And then we have Pico Voice. So they also have a series of Flutter packages that make even the offline voice command processing easier. So you can also check out Pico Voice. And yeah, we'll look at Alan now. So what it does is, so it has some functions. I'll be going over functions and then a bit of code and a demo sort of. So some of the functions that Alan uses is, one of them is intent. So what intent function allows you to do is, it is used to define a voice command. So here you can see intent, and then the hello word, which I have highlighted, is actually what the user is gonna say. So if the user says hello word, then this intent will play hello or hi there. So the response from the bot would be hello or hi there. So those are the two options. So this is basically a function which is used to define a voice command in Alan. Then yeah, that would be Alan's response. And then we have play and reply function. So play, as you saw, it is used to give the response to the user. So it can also be used to send commands to the client app that we will look soon. And then we have reply as well. That is a predefined function to respond to user without any complex actions. It is just like if you say hello and then maybe just a reply from hi there, just a response, nothing very complex. So then you can use the reply function as well. Then the first step, if you're trying to have a Alan voice chatbot in your app, then voice assistant, then the first step is writing your script in Allen Studio. So this is how it looks like. You need to sign up, create a project here, open an empty project, and yeah, so this is basically how it looks like. This is where you write the script, the part that I highlighted, and this is where you can test your commands. So and if you want to integrate, then you can go to integrations, and here you will be able to find what you need to do. First step is to add the dependency, then you need to import the package, and then this is how you're going to add the buttons. So Allen voice dot add button, and then there goes your SDK key, and then whatever commands you want to have, you can add that later. So this is the basic one that I showed, the intent function. If the user says hello world, the response from Allen would be hello, hi there. And if, yeah, this is the intent that I created. So if I say my first name is, and then I will be saying my first name. So it will take that first name, and I am passing the command in, as you can see, p.play, and then the command. So if we want to do that, then we need to have a JSON that we will be passing. So then we have command, which is get first name, and then the text that we get from the users, and then we can just say thank you, and then the first name. So for sending the commands to the app, we need to pass a JSON in the play function, as you can see here. And if you test these, then you will be able to see like how it identifies the name, and then says back the thing. So the step 2 is, after writing the script, you need to head over to your Flutter code, and this is what you will be doing for adding the button. So this is just in your stateful widget. So here you will be adding your Allen voice dot add button, and you can align them, and even they have some options for just changing the theme and colors. And then like here I have on command, and I have added a handle command function. So if I go through the function, so what this function does is, here you can see that we will be passing some commands. So like I had get first name command, we can have get last name. So what I am doing, I'll show the demo, but what I tried doing is we use Allen to fill our form. And when we say my first name is Akanksha, then it detects my first name, and it just adds it into the text field. So that's basically what it's doing. And let's look at the demo.
My first
Is it audible?
name is Emma. My last name is Watson.
Thank you. Your last name is Watson.
My address is 280 St. George's Road.
You address as 280 St. George Road.
My phone number is 346-579-8892.
Your phone number is 346-579-8892. Thanks.
Yeah, so that's basically how you can just fill all the forms, and Allen can do a lot of things. You can navigate between screens. You can just normally what you do with like creating functions, you can just pass on those functions as a command, and then it will do that. So navigating between screens, changing something in the UI, you want to add an item to the cart or things like that. So it's very easy to do that with Allen. So yeah, that was Allen, and let's jump on to actions. So app actions will allow you to use Google Assistant, and it will allow you to just use the shortcuts suggested by Assistant, and you can do a lot of things with Google Assistant like you normally do for other apps. You can have that for your own app as well. And what goes behind the Google app action. So when the user says a query, then it goes through Google Assistant, and then it processes the user input and it maps it with the intent, and then it fulfills the intent and gives back the response. So that's basically what happens in Google Assistant. And we'll be just going over some terminologies before moving to how you can also achieve that. So what an intent is just a goal or a task that user wants to do, like just ordering coffee, finding a piece of music, or things like that. And then there are built-in intents, which are there in Google. So they are the unique identifier that tells Google what action is suitable to fulfill a specific category. So there are a lot of built-in intents, as you can see. There are categories like finance, food, and drink. You can explore all the intents, and you will be able to find one for your use case, because it just keeps on adding, and there are a lot of intents already. So the common ones are like opening your app and just navigating to certain screen or things like that. So yeah, these are the built-in intents that you can use. So then what is a capability? It's like declaring a built-in intent as a capability just registers like what semantic intent it wants in your app. So it enables the voice query to fulfill the intent using the Google Assistant. So yeah, and then the custom intents are the intents that you want to have for your own use case. There are certain limitations and certain rules that you need to follow when you're creating your custom intents. Like the name of the custom intent must not begin with actions intent, or the name of the custom intent must be unique among custom intents that you have already created. So yeah, you can check out custom intents and like the limitations that they have if you really have a use case where you need to create a custom intent. And then fulfillment intent provides Assistant with information on how to perform a task. So yeah, that's basically fulfillment. And entity, as you would know, it's a representation of a real world object. So yeah, what's the prerequisite if you want to integrate Google Assistant with your app would be to have a Google Play account. So you need to pay for it and just have a Google Play account where you normally just upload or post like just apps, publish your apps. So you need to have a Google Play account. You need to have a latest version of Android Studio signed in with the same Gmail account that you are using for Google Play account. You need to have a physical device or an AVD with Google Assistant, and it should be signed in with the same Gmail ID. Then you need to have App Actions Test Tool. So in Android Studio, you will be able to find this plugin, and you can download App Actions Test Tool there. And yeah, let's just check out quickly the steps on how to do one of that, like using just like one built-in intent. So open app feature intent allows you to open an app from Google Assistant. You simply say open my example app or my app, and it'll just open. If you say it to like Google Assistant, it'll just open your app. So if you want to have that, or like these are some general steps that you need to do for any of the built-in intents or custom intents that you want to have. So the first thing that you need to do after identifying the in-app functionality and the built-in intent that you want to implement, first thing is to create a shortcuts.xml resource file in the Android app, and this will map the built-in intent to your app functionality. In here, you can see the shortcuts.xml file, what it looks like. So the capability maps the open app feature, built-in intent, and Android intent together. So when the open app feature is triggered, the Android intent will trigger. And assistant passes the built-in intent parameters to the fulfillment intent defined in the capability. So as you can see, the first, we have a capability which tells you the intent, which is open app feature. And then we have the target package and the target class. And then we also pass on some parameters that can be used for navigating to certain screens, and it maps to those screens. If you have like menu or profile page or something, you have a profile screen. So this will just take the parameters and then it will navigate to that screen. So if you want to open a certain screen using the built-in intent open app feature, then it will map the parameters and then it will open that screen. So that's basically what it does. And yeah. Yeah, so after after creating the shortcuts.xml resource file, after adding the built-in intent, the parameters, and the capabilities that you want to have, the next thing is to configure your manifest file. And here you need to add a reference to shortcuts.xml file so that it knows there is a shortcut file, and there are some app actions that need to be performed. So it's quite easy. You just need to add the metadata tag. You need to add these in metadata tag in your Android manifest file. And yeah, after doing that, the next step is handling the intent, which will come on the Flutter side of the app. So for handling the intent on that side using the method channel API, we send a message which is corresponding to the method call. And on the Android side, method channel Android API, and on iOS side, Flutter message channel API is used for receiving the method calls and sending back results. So here you can see after overriding the configure Flutter engine, we are able to extract the intent. And after extracting the intent, what we are doing is just telling what if we got some intent or not, and if it's empty, then what we have to do. So that's basically what you need to do on the Flutter side for this. Depending on the use case, depending on the type of built-in intents that you want to use or the custom intents, you will need to figure out the method channel APIs, or maybe if you want to use dynamic links, then that can also be done. So yeah, that's basically how you just make the changes to add app actions in your apps. And the next step would be testing the action. And for testing, as I told, you need to have a app actions test tool in your Android Studio. So it will allow you to create a preview and just test it. So this is how it looks like. I don't have a demo for this, unfortunately, because there were some issues that I was getting this morning for some reason, so I couldn't get that. But yeah, basically, it's like there are a lot of built-in intents, and if you want to have Google Assistant, integrated with your app, then you can easily do that using these things. Yeah. So yeah, that was about app actions and Alan. I think we're running out of time, so I won't go over Dialogflow. But creating Dialogflow voice bots or chatbots is pretty, it's quite easy. So yeah, I'll be skipping that. So, or maybe just go through the steps. So the first thing is to create an agent. Then you just do some configuration changes. You need to have a service account. Then here you need to enable the Dialogflow API. And after doing that, you create credentials, create a service account. Yeah, just creating service account, and then you get a private key for your bot, and you just download that JSON file and you include it in your app. And then for building the chat application, or you can use the packages that will help you in getting the user response. So SoundStream will be able to get the audio data, and then we can use the Dialogflow gRPC package and RxStart. Yeah. So yeah, I think I'll just skip. You have the option to model the Dialogflow agent, add responses, feed it with a lot of data, and it will be able to pick up and answer user queries by itself. So you can create the online knowledge base. Yeah, so yeah, that was about app actions, Alan, and Dialogflow essentials. Some final thoughts would be for each use case, platform, and the users that you're targeting, you need to look into what will work best for your use case. And there are a lot of complexities as well, like noisy environments, accents, multiple speakers, and things like that you need to consider. So depending on the use case, you can see what will work best for you. Not every app should have voice or is required to have a voice user interface or just some voice integrated into them. So yeah, that was all. These are some resources, and you can reach out to me here. I will be posting slides somewhere. Yeah, that was all. Thank you very much for your time, and yeah, thank you.